Greetings, HP Touchpad users. This is Reverend Kyle, your Minister of Mobile Devices. And after looking at several months worth of updates and comments and videos and new versions, I have decided to take it upon myself to update the Idiot's Guide video that I have done. Since there have been so many changes, I feel that it is now time for Idiot's Guide version 2.0. And so what we're going to do here is I'm going to revisit installing Android onto the HP Touchpad using and identifying the newest, latest, and greatest files and making this a little bit more universal as new versions come out. So just recently I have updated my own HP Touchpad to the WebOS 3.0.5, and as a result of that, it has broken my Moboot and my Android. So I was going to have to install that anyway. I felt the need to just make it a full-blown install to help both our current users and also the noobs, people who have just recently gotten their touchpad. Welcome to the community. All right, first things first, we need to go get some files. So let's do that here. We're going to go into the rootswiki.com, and this is going to be your place to get most of the files that you're going to need here. And I've got it open to the main Cyanogenmod forum thread, and I'm going to scroll most of the way down to the bottom. I do encourage you to read this information, especially if you are a noob to this. You'll find some valuable information here. Eventually you'll get to a point where it says downloads. Now, downloads is going to have most of the files that we're going to need. Some of them we'll have to go out and get elsewhere. The first file we're going to need is the README and installer, also called Acme Installer. This file is never changing. I don't foresee a new version of Acme Installer coming out anytime soon, or if ever. This is essential to the installation of the initial files. So you're going to want to download this file. There's also an uninstaller, and that I touch on that on a different video in my YouTube channel, and that's there for you if you'd like. Now we have the CyanogenMod 7 Alpha 3.5 build. Now, if you want to just use the plain Jane, vanilla, non-tweaked or canged Android, this is going to be the file that you're going to want. Now, we're on 3.5. I anticipate a 3.6 or a 4, and then eventually the ICS files will come out. The Ice Cream Sandwich for our touchpad will come out. You need to download one of these, whichever one it is you choose to do. If you choose to download this file for this version, then this is the one you download. If you're going to download Xron, then that's the file you get. And as new versions come out, you'll have a new zip file. The key to this, to make this a universal and global installation guide, is that you choose which zip file you're going to install in terms of the main Android version. So if you want this one, then download this one. The previous versions of the vanilla Cyanogenmod are here, and then you come down to Clockwork Recovery. Clockwork Recovery is the menu item that will allow you to either install updates or to make backups or change little tweaks, clean your Dalvik cache, or do a factory reset. Clockwork Recovery is one thing that you're going to want to download. Now, because, again, trying to make this universal, there's also TWRP, the Team Win Recovery Project, TWRP. This is an alternative to the Clockwork Recovery module. They both perform the same functions, essentially. However, the TWRP, or Team Win Recovery Project, is a GUI interface, so there are buttons to press, and it's a little bit cleaner looking, in my opinion. I do have a video just about TWRP if you want to learn more about that. But essentially, you need either Clockwork Recovery or TWRP, or both. You can have both installed. There's no harm to having both of them. And then below that we have MoBoot. Now MoBoot is the actual bootloader menu. So when you turn on your Android currently, it probably just takes you into WebOS. Once you install MoBoot, it will then give you the option to go to Android, WebOS, or several different types of recovery. So you're going to want to definitely download MoBoot. Now I'm going to go in here and show you something real quick. My original video uses MoBoot 0.3.3. They are up to 0.3.5 now. If, for some reason, a new version comes out, 0.3.6, you would use that file instead of this one. It doesn't matter which version you use as long as you have a MoBoot zip file in there somewhere, just to keep that clear. Okay, now that's all of the files you're going to need off of the roots wiki page. But that's not all of the files you need. Let me show you what files I have downloaded. So I have a Touchpad files folder on my desktop already. Now in this folder I have the Acme installer, which we've already discussed, MoBoot, which we've already discussed, and I have the CWM, which is the Clockwork Recovery module, and then I also have the twerp, as I was alluding to earlier. Now I have other files in here. I have the vanilla alpha 3.5, and then I also have the XRON file. We're not going to use all of these. I'm just showing you that you have different options. So when we move these files to the touchpad, you'll see which ones you'll need. Now, I also have a GApps file. Now, the GApps file is what gives you your market, your ability to sign into your Google account, the option to download Gmail, all of the essential pieces. Now, that's not on the Roots Wiki page, and it's not anywhere linked, so you'll have to go out and get it, and let me show you where to go for that. You're going to go to goo-inside.me/GApps. And this takes you to the Android file repository of some sort. And here are the GApp versions. Now, we are currently running Cyanogenmod 7. And so I would click on this and download this version. This is the one that's in my folder currently. But I'm not going to actually download it because I already have. Now, as new versions come out of the Android operating system, for example, once Cyanogenmod 9 comes out, which is what's in Ice Cream Sandwich, or ICS, once that comes out, I would imagine that you're going to want to use the ICS version of the GApps file. And so there actually are numerous versions of the GApps listed here, and I do believe, yes there is a GApps ICS. So if CM9 does come out, well, when it comes out for our device, you'll want to download this file as well. Okay, so those are all of the zip files that you're going to need. There is also a file in here called universal NovaComm Installer.jar. The NovaComm drivers are necessary to be installed on your computer in order for your touchpad to talk to the computer so it can transfer the Android files. And this is a jar file, meaning that it is executed by Java. If your computer does not have Java installed, then you can go to java.com and download it and install it. It's a relatively simple and easy process. I know that this is a Java file because it actually shows on my icon a tiny little coffee pot with steam coming off of it. So if I double click this right now, the Universal NovaComm Installer pops up. It detects my operating system as being Windows 64-bit. I am on Windows 7 64-bit, and I can click this to install. Now it does say do you want to download the file, and I'm going to say yes. Now this part trips a lot of people up, and while this is downloading, I'm going to speak a bit to it. If you already have the Palm SDK or the WebOS SDK listed and installed on your computer, the NovaComm drivers will not put the files into the same folder you're going to see mine in. And something that a lot of people struggled with. The NovaComm file, the NovaComm executable file, which I'm about to get here in a minute, may show up somewhere else on your hard drive. That's okay. That's okay that you find it somewhere else, but you do need to find NovaComm.exe somewhere on your computer. Let me show you where mine is. Now that the driver is loaded, I go into my C drive, and I'm actually going to go into Program Files, and then I have a folder now called Palm, space Inc. So if I go in here, I have NovaComm.exe listed here. I need to know where this folder is to be able to proceed to the next couple steps. If you don't have this folder, don't fret. Just go find NovaComm.exe. You may need to do a search. You may need to go browsing around and looking for it. Essentially, find this file if it doesn't show up where mine did. So now that we've established that we know where our NovaComm executable file is, we now need to put some other files into the same folder. Now, one of those files we need to put there is the Acme Installer zip file. So I'm going to copy that file and I'm going to paste it in here. Okay, now this file has to be unzipped, and the contents have to end up in the same folder as the NovaComm exe. So I'm going to go in to mine. I use whatever program, FreeArc. I don't know how I ended up with that, but that's what I use. I'm going to put these files, extract them into my Palm Inc. folder. And again, this just needs to go wherever your NovaComm.exe file is. So if yours is different, then put these files in that folder. So now, when I go to that folder, I have Acme Installer with no extension, a README that I do encourage you to read, and then NovaComm. All three of these files are in the same folder, and I know where that folder is, and that's very, very important. Okay, I'm going to close this now. So now we need to put some of these files onto a folder on our touchpad. So I am going to turn my touchpad on, and I am in the WebOS. And I'm going to plug my touchpad in. And my touchpad will want to connect to the USB drive. And I'm assuming that you know how to do that. Hopefully I don't have to show you how to connect your touchpad so you can access the drive letter. So I have HP Touchpad now, and I have an E. Okay, I'm going to open that up and take a look at what I have inside here. I have a CM install folder already here. Okay, I need to have a CM install folder here. I'm going to delete this one and recreate it just to show you. So let's pretend like you didn't see that. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and I'm going to right click and do new folder. And I'm calling this folder CM install. Now I want everybody to take a very good, long, hard look at this folder. The folder is called CM install. It's not called CM space install. It's not called CM installer. It has to be called CM install. And it has to be on the root of your touchpad. It can't be inside some other folder. It has to be straight on the root of your touchpad. I cannot stress that enough. A lot of people struggled with that part. CM install. Please, everybody, take note that your folder has to look exactly like mine. It can't be called anything else, and it has to be on the root of your touchpad. Hopefully I don't get that question ever again. All right, I'm going to go into this folder. Now I need to put some files in here. What files am I going to put in here? Well, I need to put Moboot. So I'm going to make a copy of Moboot and put it in the CM install folder. I need to have either the Clockwork Recovery mod or the twerp. I'm going to put both in. Again, the Clockwork Recovery is your updates and backups and clearing your cache and whatnot. And twerp is the GUI version of that. GUI stands for Graphic User Interface. It's got pictures and buttons. And so I'm going to also put that in there. Again, you can pick or choose one or the other, or do both. Now, here's where it gets tricky. You have to make a choice. are you going to install the vanilla Alpha 3.5, the just plain Cyanogenmod 7, or are you going to install the XRON? I have their beta 2.9.1, which is their latest and greatest at the time. Or maybe CM9 is out, so Cyanogenmod 9 ICS is out, or Alpha 3.7, or XRON version 3.1, or whatever versions come out. You'll have a zip file for that, and you'll have to choose which one you install. I'm personally going to just do the plain vanilla 3.5 and paste it in. Okay, what else do I need? Well, I need my GApps, because without it, I won't get a market, I won't be able to install Gmail, I won't be able to sign into my Google account. So I'm going to also copy that folder over. Now I want to show you something before we go any further. I'm going to change the name of this file. There have been some circumstances where people have downloaded files multiple times. And as a result of it, they have a parentheses 1, close parentheses, or they'll have a parentheses 2 or parentheses 3 because you've downloaded the file multiple times. Those parentheses are going to prevent that zip file from installing correctly. So if you've downloaded any of these files and you see numbers within parentheses, you need to get rid of those. So I'm going to change my folder name back, or my file name back, to just moboot 0.3.5.zip. Also notice, I did not unzip any of these files. They're all fully zipped. In order for the Acme installer to install anything from this folder, it has to be zipped. I think at this point, everybody should be comfortable with the CM install folder, what files you are supposed to have in it. You're also comfortable that you have the NovaComm executable and you've put the Acme installer files into it. And let's just go and take a look here at our next step. We actually need to unmount the touchpad. We need to go back a few here and actually just right click and do eject, and eject will unmount the touchpad so it's safe to remove the hardware. Okay, we don't want to just yank it, then the touchpad yells at you. As far as this folder is concerned, I'm done with that as well. So I'm going to go down to my start button and I'm going to go to CMD, which will start up my command line, commonly known as my DOS prompt. I know some of you are not DOS savvy. That's okay. There's only a few things that you really need to know here in DOS. Number one, CD stands for Connect Directory. And so if I do CD and then a backslash, it's going to connect me back to the very root. So right now I'm in C users owner, and if I CD backslash, it's going to take me all the way to the back, and it takes me just to C. That's very important to know, because if you ever get into a folder that you don't want to be in, you can just CD backslash and start over. Now, in the same respect, CD space and then the name of a folder will take you into that folder. For example, I need to go to program files. So I'm going to do CD, which is Connect Directory, space, program files. When I hit enter, now I'm in program files. Now, as we stated before, if your NovaComm.exe file is elsewhere, it's not in the program files or it's in some other folder, you're going to need to connect to that folder instead. Within the program files folder on my device, CD space and then palm, comma, space, ink. That's a comma, not a period. There is a space. And I'm going to hit enter. So now I'm connected to the directory program files. Within there, I've connected to palm, comma, space, ink. So now my prompt reflects the exact folder that I'm in. So I'd like to see what's in this directory, so I'm going to type in dir. Dir will show you what's inside of a folder in DOS. And by doing so, it comes up and it shows you all of the different files and folders. Now I have to stop you right here. There have been many people who have asked me, my volume in drive C doesn't say gateway. Volume in drive C on my screen here is gateway, is because this is a gateway laptop. This is my goof around with laptop, and so gateway is the name of that hard drive. Yours can say whatever it wants. It could say nothing. That's irrelevant. If for some reason this doesn't work, it has nothing to do with the volume in your drive C. It has nothing to do with your volume serial number. It just has to do with the command and how it interacts with your device. Okay, now we're very, very close to ready to execute this. But before we do, I'm going to actually, we need to go to the touchpad and prep the touchpad for the next step. Now, at the touchpad here, the next thing we need to do is actually unplug the touchpad from the USB cable. It's still plugged in from earlier. During this process, I don't want to have it plugged into the USB port, so I'm just going to unplug that here. Okay, we need to reset the touchpad into what we call recovery mode or bootloader mode. So I'm going to go into my WebOS on my touchpad. I'm going to go into settings, go into device info. And while we're in here, I'll just show you that I am running 3.0.5, and I'm going to hit the reset options, and then I'm going to hit restart. Now the important part of this is once it restarts, I'm going to press the volume up button on my tablet. So I haven't done it yet. I'm going to do it now. So right now I'm holding the volume up button on my tablet. The volume up button is the one on the left, just in case anybody is confused about that. Okay, this is exactly where we need the touchpad to be. We need it to show this symbol, and this is indicating that it is fully prepared and ready to go to receive the Android installation. And so from here, I'm going to kind of give you a fuller view so that way you can see what happens next. We now have our touchpad set to USB bootloader mode, so the touchpad is sitting off of to my right here, to my left, and it is just sitting there by itself, not plugged into anything, and ready to go. I have my command prompt up, and I am open to the folder that holds my NovaComm EXE and my Acme installer files, and I am ready to go. But I need to make sure that my touchpad is recognized by my computer before I can go any further. And so right now I am plugging in the USB cable to my touchpad. And again, I think this is a step that many people struggled with because what is about to happen on my machine didn't happen for them. So right now I'm expecting my computer to recognize this device and install the NovaComm booty, and I'm just waiting for something to possibly pop up. It hasn't, so I'm going to go looking for it. I'm going to go into my device manager on my computer, right-clicking on computer and going to properties gives me the option to go to device manager. And what I'm looking for is the Palm NovaComm modules. Now this right here is very important. Okay, the Palm NovaComm modules should have what's called Palm NovaComm booty. If you've got your touchpad plugged in and you're in USB bootloader mode with the USB symbol on the front of it, and you don't see this in your device manager, the Acme installer will not work. Plain and simple. If you come into your device manager and you don't see Palm NovaComm booty, you're not ready to go. Now what do? I don't see it there. What happened? Well, NovaComm didn't install for you. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unplug the cord, and you're going to want to reinstall NovaComm. Now, okay, so I've reinstalled NovaComm. It's still not working. Okay? It's possible that your touchpad isn't being recognized by your computer. Why wouldn't my computer recognize my touchpad? Well, there's numerous reasons. Number one, the USB cable that you're using is flaky. It's not working. It's not letting it talk. Well, I use that cable on other items. Well, that's fine. The HP Touchpad draws a lot of juice and it needs a lot to be able to talk to your computer. So maybe try a different USB cable. What else could cause it? Maybe you don't have it plugged in directly to the USB port. Maybe you have it plugged into a hub, a USB hub. Don't do that. I've talked to many people who have said that their USB hub prevented the Palm NovaComm booty from installing and letting them go to the next step. What else could possibly be going on? I actually had a situation where I had to unplug other USB devices in order for my HP Touchpad to be able to talk to my computer. Believe it or not, I unplugged 2 or 3 USB devices and now magically it worked. So those are some examples that you can use for troubleshooting, things that I have told numerous people as they've emailed me to try. Different USB cable, unplug other USB stuff. Don't use a hub. Sometimes it just takes a nice little reboot of the computer to refresh the USB ports. Worst case scenario, stop, go to a different computer and try to do this whole thing there. So again, essential, if you don't see Palm NovaComm booty on your device manager, you are not ready to go to the next step. I'm going to close these things here, and we're ready to go. The next step is to actually type in the NovaComm command. So I'm going to type this in, NovaComm space boot space mem colon / space less than space Acme installer. Notice the spaces, notice the capital letters, notice the nice little way I've typed all this in. Now, if I were to press enter right now, I would expect my touchpad to go whirling around and installing. But before I do, I want to switch views so that way you can see both angles of this. Okay, so now I have a angle here where I can show you both devices. I just want to show you that nothing has changed on my screen. I still have the same command listed there in my command prompt, and I'm just going to zoom out here and show you that I've got the device. It's still in USB bootloader mode, and I have it plugged in to the cable, and everything is ready to go. And so I'm going to go ahead and press enter on my keyboard and show you what happens. Alright, so now my tablet has rebooted and is going nuts into what I have been affectionately calling double penguin mode. Double penguin because, well, there's 2 penguins on the screen there. And so this is going to start unpacking files, and it's flying through. This could take a little bit of time. I'm anticipating that this will take at the very least 5, maybe 10 minutes, just depending on which versions that you've chosen to install. So I will let this install here, and for the sake of the video, I will end up speeding this part up. So this is my first reboot after the installation, and I'm just going to hit the volume button to trigger it. Okay, this is a success because what I have here is all of the different items that I have installed. Now I do notice that there seems to be one thing missing. My twerp, my Team Win recovery project, is not here. Now I did put it into the CM install folder, but it did not install. I find that curious. It doesn't concern me though, because I'll just use Clockwork Mod to install that zip file later. Again, not the end of the world. That's something that can be added as a supplement later, but it just goes to show you that I must have either had the file named something incorrectly, or maybe it just doesn't like Acme Installer or the way I did things. But everything else is here. So I have my Cyanogenmod, I have my Clockwork Mod, I still have my WebOS, and you'll notice that it does say MoBoot 0.3.5. From here, I would then go into Cyanogenmod and let that load up. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate that for you now. I think getting to this point is really the important aspect of this video. Now, if for some reason you do this and when you look at your MoBoot, you don't see boot Cyanogenmod, or you don't see boot Clockwork Mod, or you don't see boot twerp like mine did, that's fine. Find out what you did wrong, put that file, just duplicate the process you just did now. So you can go back in, make a new CM install folder if it's not there still, put new zip files in, and follow the same process. Go back to your command prompt and do the NovaComm bootmem Acme installer. Or you could also use Clockwork Mod to install additional zip files as well, and I have a video that demonstrates how to use Clockwork Mod, Clockwork Recovery for that purpose. So hopefully as new versions of these files come out, you'll be able to use this video as a universal guide, an idiot's guide, to install these new files. And hopefully there won't be any concerns about, well, I couldn't find this specific version of the file. This is universal, so whatever version of the file that you find, that's the one you use instead of the ones that I did here. So let's hope that this becomes a little bit more of a universal guide for everybody. For those of you who don't need to install everything, again, you can use this guide to use Acme Installer and just install the pieces that you want. So if you've just recently upgraded to your WebOS 3.0.5 and your MoBoot and your Android are gone, you can use this process to reinstall those items. Okay, well that's all for now. This has been Reverend Kyle, and hopefully we now have a more universal Idiot's Guide version 2.0 on how to install Android onto your HP Touchpad.